The word coach is derived after a village in Hungary called as Koch. The spelling is slightly different. It's Kocs. So this Koch village gave world the horse carrying carriage or buggy as we know, and eventually that was called as the modern day coach. And this happened in 15th century. The term coach was used as an instructor and trainer in 1830 in Oxford University for a person who carries students examination or students through examination. In 1861, coach was used for person who prepares athletes for contests. In 1866, it was used for railway passenger cars. Hi, I am Prashant Uttekar, a learning enthusiast, and I'm in conversation with Priya Sharma Shaikh, who definitely knows little more than what I've just told you about this interesting world of coaching. Priya is the president of International Coaching Federation, popularly known as ICF, the Mumbai Chapter. Priya has held C-suite positions for over more than 30 years now in the fields of financial services, media, FMCG, and education. She is now an ICF credentialed professional certified coach, also known as PCC, and as a growth catalyst, she helps individuals, teams, and organizations lead, communicate, and sell better and grow from good to great. Welcome to the show, Priya.
Thank you so much. What a lovely description. And I loved that beautiful story about how the coach progressed from being someone with KAUS, you said, is that right? And all the way to where we are today.
So I do a little thing called as the Relearning Podcast, and I did this episode. So I just thought I should start with that. And who knew that carrying people through a buggy would turn out to be a modern day profession?
Exactly. My gosh, really. And a much needed one, I'd say, because at the end of the day, we all need a coach. That's what we as ICF coaches believe, that everyone needs a coach and everyone should have a coach, access to a coach.
Oh, lovely. And thanks. And let me just compliment you. Look amazing. And thank you for your presence on this conversation.
Thank you so much. I'm hoping that, this is not being a problem because I've got this condition with my eye, thanks to the surgery, but I'm trying to be as my pleasant self as possible.
Oh, you are. You don't even have to try. So all trying is happening here. So trust me. So let's get to it. My first question is, and again, this has been on minds of many people, right? What does coaching mean to you? And why I ask this is, coach as a word is used largely in sports, and that's a direct relation. And in the last decade or so, it has been very prevalent in the corporate world, or it's very corporate-ish kind of a word. So my question is very simple. What does coaching mean to you? And probably first, what coaching means or is defined by ICF.
So let me start with what ICF's definition of coaching is.
Sure.
ICF defines coaching as a partnering with clients in a thought-provoking and creative process that inspires them to maximize their personal and professional potential. Right?
Uh-huh.
And the beauty of this definition lies in the key words of this particular description. It's a partnering. That means there is a client and there is the coach. And they need to sort of be on the same plane of understanding at where the client is. And therefore, then begins something called as a thought-provoking creative process, where there is a discussion, there are questions that are asked that makes the client think, thought-provoking, creative. That means think beyond their usual way of thinking. And then inspiring them as they think, to maximize their personal and professional potential. I find it a very fascinating definition because it really is talking about how each client has within them this potential, sometimes tapped into, of course, but a lot of times not tapped into because of whatever limiting beliefs, stereotypes, fears, all kinds of things that are going in their head as chatter, right? So where does the coach come in and what does the coach do? So in my opinion, and this is something that I really love because this is, we were discussing about the work we're doing on the Conclave, and a beautiful definition of coaching came up. We spoke to one of our clients. In fact, one of my colleagues, Tushima, she spoke to one of her clients and said, what is it for you? What is coaching according to you? Forget about what we coaches say what coaching is. And he said something very beautiful. He said, coaching is a process that allows me to be myself and find my own solutions in a safe and confidential setting. It really is actually that simple. Because who am I, for example, to tell you, for example, how to lead your life? right?
True.
You know how to live your life best. You know what's going on in your life. You know your paradigm. You know the circumstances in which life is revolving around you, right? And yet here comes a coach and says that, I can coach you to do things better. And how does that happen? What why would one let a coach come in, right? Because sometimes, even though despite whatever we're trying to achieve, we somehow are not making the progress. We're not able to make that transition. So the coach comes and understands, okay, what's happening? And this what's happening to move from point A to point B is a process. And it becomes a creative process because I'm trusting you to find your own solutions as the coach. So I am no one to tell you that, hey, aap aisa karo apni life mein, aap aisa
Right.
karoge, be able to make it awesome. If I tell you that means I'm giving you advice, then I'm not coaching you.
Yeah.
But I'm here to hold space with you, a confidential, safe space where you say, you know what? I'm not starting that dream business that I wanted to 20 years ago when I left college, when I was so confident and I'm still so sure that I want to do it, but I'm not pressing the trigger because I just don't feel that I can do it. I feel I'll fail. I'm not sure if I press the button, what will the repercussions of this be? So the coach comes and says, all right, let's see what we can do here. Can we discover it together? Can we discover what's going on? What's really holding you back, right? So that's what we do in coaching. We are able to actually engage in a thought-provoking process with the client, helping them move forward, making that transition, taking that leap of faith, knowing what perhaps are the consequences of that action, and mindfully making choices to move in a direction that I wish to, from that point A to point B.
That's such a
So,
powerful definition, and thanks for elaborating the ICF definition to what you just said, right? And वो कहते हैं ना हिंदी में that हम सोचते रह जाते हैं, right? So that's so powerful, and I'm sure there are so many stories of people with wanting to do something, and there
right.
comes a coach in many form. It could be a professional such as you, and it could be some other inspiration as well, and it transforms the entire life that they do.
Of the person.
Yeah, and in fact, like you said, I in my own capacity, I also coach. I love the first stage of discovery and exploration. That's the most. There are so many emotions and feelings, and why nots. That's just beautiful. Yeah, you wanted to add something.
Yeah, the thing this thing about discovery and this self-awareness, the day you meet yourself, we are constantly wanting to make connections outside of us. इसको मिलूं, उसको बात कर लूं, ये कर लूं, वो कर लूं. हम कब अपने आप से मिलते हैं और अपने आप को पहचानते हैं और अपने आप को एक्सेप्ट करते हैं जैसे भी हैं, राइट? वो बहुत जरूरी है. And that's where coaching begins. It begins with saying hello to yourself, beginning to accept you, who you are. And then after that, I believe every client is almost their life is in a flow, in whatever flow, like every river, like the Khalil Gibran poetry of, the journey of a river, making its way to the ocean. So what's the role of the coach? Is the coach flowing along with you in that river? No, the coach is the bank of the river, watching and seeing how you progress as you go along, championing you along, that, hey, you got this, you're going, it's coming up, you're figuring this out. And as we go along with our clients, I literally look at this, that the client is like the beautiful river flowing, trying hard, going past all the pebbles and the stones and the shrubbery and whatever's coming in its way. And here we are as the coach. Yeah, you got this. You're going along with you all the way up to the final point where you finally merge into the ocean and you're able to be part of this oneness that, we all are really all about. We separate from that oneness because of all the stereotypes, all the, the thoughts that are put into our heads. Because as babies, we are born as confident human beings, right?
True.
We are come without a single penny, without a single clothing into this world. And we scream into the world, yeah, we've arrived. And a mother embraces us, a father embraces us and says, we got you. They feed us, they clothe us, they, tutor us, they nurture us, and they bring us to be whatever we eventually become. But alongside all of that love and care and protection, there's also so many other influences. And now more than ever before, right? There's so many complexities we develop, whether it's in schools, colleges, at workplace, in the partners we choose, the choices we make, etc. Right? So all of this then finally becomes a certain mask above us as we go through life. And these masks is what we show the world. What's inside of us, we sometimes don't even tell ourselves. We are fearful to face that. It's almost like, I don't want to meet that part of me kind of thing. So yeah, it's I think that discovery of me when I had it in the year 2015, when I trained with Peter Redding. This was in a program we'd done, it was, I think, a 4-day program, and then several hours online, etc. But I have not wept with so much emotion in my life than when in that program. But just meeting me was so huge. Wow. So huge. And just that ability to make my clients meet themselves and see them as they do so is, like you said so beautifully, that discovery moment is so powerful. And then from there begins the journey, because here's where I am. Now, where do I want to go from here? What do I want to do next with my coach? And we move, then the trust begins, intimacy starts, that safe space begins, confidentiality is, put into play. And then the rollout starts of what the plans, the dreams. Okay, let's do this. Because you've let go of all those masks and those shackles, those things, right? So you're now willing to start afresh, which is awesome.
I definitely want to talk about the conclave, but one thing that triggered an immediate reaction is you mentioned about your story. Can we get to that? Because I really want to know what happened in that session and what was that process for you personally?
Yeah, so I'd love to share that, because there was this particular client, we have these peer coaching sessions as a practice thing when you're going into the coaching engagement. And our instructor had said to us that, when you are doing this practice session, there will be emotions. But as a coach, you are not to be part of those emotions. You're supposed to observe them and let your client go through it. So there was this colleague of mine who was my fellow learner, Amrita Singh. She's also a chapter member now, and she's a great coach. She's done some great stuff for herself in her career in coaching space. So Amrita was my peer coach at that time. And when we got the questions that were given, that, you had to tell us about your story, tell us about what successes, what, challenges you faced, and how did you come past them, and think that's a typical thing of discovery, right? Where's the strength? Where's the Shakti within? Let's bring that out. Where is it hidden? Why has she been put into the corner? Bring her out to speak up for you. So she began to ask me these questions, and I was like, and I started talking about my story, and I'm like, crying, and I'm like going on and crying. And she's sitting in front of me, and she's a new coach too. So she's trying to play the part. And she was sitting there watching me, trying to be as mindfully observant as possible. I'll never forget that moment, because her not reaching out to hug me or quieten me or not crying herself allowed me to really open up. There was no restriction, because if she had gotten up to hug me or say, oh my God, really sorry you went through this or something like that, it breaks the chain of thought.
There you go. It
puts the barrier, and it's almost like a trigger for me to stop, or she's getting affected, because then your mask comes up. Oh no, you got to save her. She can't be. I've got to be nice to her. I've got to take care of her.
I call it, you gave the analogy of rivers, right? It's little branch that comes up. It is in the same line, but there's a different flow to it. It's so beautiful. I'm sorry I stopped you. Sorry.
No, not at all. Oh, she let me do that. And I have wept like a baby, talking about the things that I've been through, the things that bothered me, the things that I felt limited at, where I felt judged, where I felt small and I felt I couldn't do anything. I was the worst, and blah, blah, blah. Guilt, everything, all of it was coming out. And I think we spent about a good 20 minutes. And I think cried pretty much 19 and a half minutes out of that, except for the first half a minute where I started the story. But Prashant, by the end of it, I felt almost like a weight off my shoulders. Like, I'd been holding on to all this, right? And the reason you never really completely take it off and you hold it on as a weight is because, you like I said, had she stopped me, like when you talk to your mom or your dad or your kids or your husband or anybody, they'll say, "Arey, kya? Nahi, se rote nahi hai. Don't be silly. Se rona nahi chahiye. Wrong hona chahiye." बट नहीं होना है मुझे स्ट्रांग. मुझे कभी टूटना भी है बताने के लिए कि मैं कितनी vulnerable थी. I was breaking. I was in in pieces in so many times, and I couldn't share completely with anybody, you know. But just her holding space for me. And this thing about, a lot of people have asked me, what is this thing about holding space? In coaching, it's an interesting term
Yes.
that says hold space for somebody. That means you're just letting the person be themselves.
It's very tough.
You're
Yeah.
just it's not easy to, because the typical thing would be, but no, don't cry, stop, no, it's okay, don't come, let me give you a glass of water. That's so long ago now. Why are you thinking about it? Why you So the thing about what I found about the coaching process was this also, that so the instructor said, whatever cleansing you want to do, finish it, do it, come to a point of play. Here's where I am now. हो गया जो था, अब यहाँ से आगे क्या करना है. So this is the beauty of coaching, that it's not about the past. So the coach is not aiding what I wanted to say about the past. The coach is letting me come to speed, letting herself come to speed to where I am now, and saying, okay, now from here, where do you want to go? Because now we want to bring change.
Makes sense.
The awareness has happened, acceptance has happened, vulnerability has happened, emotions have happened, all that's done. अब क्या?
Lovely.
अब शुरू होती है चाल, अब शुरू होती है दौड़, अब शुरू होते हैं एम्स, अपने गोल्स, ड्रीम्स बनाना, ड्रीम्स को साकार करना. और तब आती है हिम्मत, बिकॉज द कोच इज होल्डिंग यू अकाउंटेबल कि भाई आप ड्रीम्स तो बना रहे हो, उसका क्या अजल है, व्हाट विल एक्चुअली हैपन, व्हाट विल यू रियली बी एबल टू अचीव इट और नॉट. सो दैट्स व्हाट होगा कि नहीं, मतलब will it actually happen? You're making these tall dreams. Like when I was a youngster, I would have this dream that I would be a great singer. It's one of my gifted talents. It's my natural gift. I sing well and all that. So अक्सर ये होता था कि what, I'll become a great singer. I'll go sing, like the Beatles. I'd be a fan of the Beatles, and I would say I'll go sing and do this, that, and the other. But that's the thing. You want these dreams, but are you willing to put the effort that goes behind it? Because really, it's you. The coach is not making the effort, right? You have to make the effort. So it's one thing to think that, I want to sing in that park out there, Central Park, and have millions of people, waving to me with their mobile phones and what have you. But what does it take to get there? Like thousands of hours, of work, right? There's that story about Outliers of Malcolm Gladwell that says that it takes thousands of hours of practice for Beatles to get from where they started out to be where they finally ended up being. The iconic figures. Are you willing to put in that hard work, the sacrifice, the hours, the tears, the blood on your hands with the guitaring? It's all of that. Are you willing to put that grind out there? So therefore, the whole thing about setting those goals which are realistic and those SMART goals, etc., it's specific. I want to go sing at Central Park, but that means blah 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 blah, all of this. So
of course,
what part of this are you committed to, right? So just making the client be able to set goals that are something that is achievable, something that's real, something that's possibly time bound, something that they can do, and they're willing to put in the work that goes for all of that. So that's what the coach does.
Wow. Well, we packed so much in that. That is, you whatever you are, you address that, acknowledge what we have, and that's not even the start. That's just addressing and meeting self, and from there the actual journey begins, where probably that's uncharted route that you're going to take, and that's wonderful. Thank you for sharing this. It's so wonderful. I'm getting to the next question, and it's very close to what we were just talking about. While on the way, coaching in India is getting recognized, it's getting aware, but there are many myths. So what are some myths that you would like to burst about coaching?
Lovely. So one of the myths that coaching has is that it's only for large organizations. Ye badi companiyan, big pockets, they are the ones who get. No, I think coaching is for every organization, individual, entrepreneur, solopreneur, parent, everybody has access to coaching and should have access to coaching. Coaching is for all. That's the key thing. And that's a myth that's saying it's only for the large organizations. I think every single solopreneur who's starting their their what are they called now, these cloud kitchens,
Yeah.
or to somebody who's making these crochet bags, or somebody who's running, say, a salon, or somebody who's running a coaching practice, or running a business, or starting, say, an Ayurvedic company. God knows whatever you may be starting and wanting to set out to do. Everyone should have access to a coach, and everyone can have a coach. Yeah. So it's a myth that it's only for large organizations. The fact is, it's for everyone.
And thanks for bringing that. Well, one of the things that I get a lot is, and it's funny that organizations also put coaching as a mechanism to for someone to improve performance. So it gets a very bad name that, hey, put him in coaching. So the tone and the way it is done, it's not even great, right? So I'm specific to corporate organizations because I've worked in few, and I know, and I also have friends who get this. That's one. And again, I don't think that should. In fact, if you have the top performer and if you coach, you'll have a multiplier effect. Like you said, it's for everybody. In many ways, I tried this with my 5-year-old, and the responses are so beautiful. I always think that if I could take that leaf from her experience and I just simply take that will be so powerful. So you're right. And there are many that come along, right? One of the important ones, and again, I would like your input on that, is coach him, counsel him, and probably also mentor him. So easily these three roles are told to be.
Yeah. True, very true. So what the other thing is that in coaching, in corporate especially, there's this so-called thing that gets done, that there's a myth that it's only isko sudharo to coaching mein dal do kind of thing. Otherwise, that's almost like can be, but it's a myth. I think there are large organizations today that are really, there's so many number of not only large but medium, small sized organizations that are now looking at coaching as that mechanism, that tool that really optimizes their staff, their people and themselves. So leadership also should be willing to see the benefits of coaching as well, and employ it themselves, see how it really impacts, because it is a ripple effect. It's literally, you start that trickle from the top, when you as a leader change, and you are changing your mindset and having a coaching mindset while leading your team or your people or your organization, automatically that has a ripple down effect in the entire organization. So it starts at the top, I'd say. And it is not at all. Yes, development could be one of the things, but it's not the only thing for sure. It could be some skill that needs to be, skills ke liye aap training lijiye. Go to a course, join a course. There's so many things that you can learn. But coaching is about just awareness that, what made me respond like that? What made me take that action? Could I have done it better? Just becoming aware and almost watching yourself as you're interacting with people. You know what? That was so uncalled for. What did I do? I could have handled that better. Or I could have, projected this team better. Or I could have planned better. Or I could have taken better actions. Just becoming more self-aware, more reflective, shall I say. And that's what it is. It's not ki bhai dant, and then I think organizations should stay clear from this, that it's something that because this guy or this girl or this person needs improvement, so set them into coaching. No, it's like any learning and development tool for any organization. So like I believe this, that when an organization hires somebody, when you recruit someone and you invest time, effort, money in developing them, putting them into an exposure of whatever division you're making them join, there is a learning curve, and that learning curve you're willing to invest in. So similarly, coaching's that way. Have that patience for that person to come to that level of, I can, now I see that clarity of vision. Now I can go get whatever is needed for this organization.
It just triggered one more insight in my, organization, and I understand why this is. Organizations love that there is an input and the output is immediate. So like you said, it's a process. For me, it might take 6 months. For you, probably 2 weeks. That understanding, I think, but again, for the good part, that understanding is seeping in now. I've noticed that with good brands. I've noticed that with a couple of startups, because they are very smart in getting with coaching right from day one, because they know what it is. And thank you again. Lovely insights that you're sharing. Now let's get to what's on your right hand side top corner. And I love the caption. Let me just tell you right at the beginning. It's time to rise. Tell us more about this coaching conclave.
So the Coaching Conclave is the third of its kind in India. It's the ICF India Coaching Conclave 2022. This was
Nice.
started in 2018 by the Bengaluru chapter of ICF. And in 2021, that is last year, it was done by the ICF Chennai chapter. And this year, the ICF Mumbai Charter chapter is hosting the conclave, along with the other 5 chapters, that is in Delhi, Chennai, Bengaluru, Hyderabad, and Pune. So all of the team members or volunteer coaches from all these chapters are coming together to put together this conclave. The essence of this conclave, we felt, was that the world has been through such a huge churn with the pandemic happening, impacting globally in so many different ways. Families, individuals, careers, organizations, just the entire systems, right? So much has happened. And we've been through so much as a people, shall we say, as a collective, that there's this awareness that has sort of set in. There's a sense that there needs to be something different. Something has to be done differently. And whatever that something is, there's this desire to do it. And in my conversations with so many people, not only with my clients, but friends, family, kuch to change hona chahiye. Something should change. Something has to shift, right? So there's this sense that I want to shift. And then there's this fear, reluctance, all these kind of emotions in our head. What's to be done? What can we really do? And really, it's what can I do? How can I take responsibility? How can I rise? And how can I rise to this occasion and leverage this opportune moment in the universe right now to do something and be accountable to that change that I wish to see? So that whole thing of Mahatma Gandhi's thing about, put action to, the change that you wish to see, be the change you wish to see out there. Can I rise up, or can I rise to make that change happen? Whatever it be, whether it's in my own personal life, my beingness, my family, with my children, with my partner, with my business, my work, my clients, with society in general, with any relationships I might have. So can I rise? Because it is time to rise. It is that time where each of us needs to take that responsibility on our own little shoulders and rise to an occasion that's new, to an emergent future that we all want to leave behind for our little kids, for your little daughter who's 5-year-old, who has the world to discover still, right? Can we leave a better world behind? Can we leave a world that's more accepting, welcoming, loving, growing? Yeah.
That's such a powerful message, right? It's it is heartfelt.
And it's heartfelt. It's really filled. I mean, for us, the team that's been working on this conclave just feels this energy of it's time to rise. And the intention is I rise as a coach. Okay. As a coach, I rise to make coaching visible, comprehensible, and accessible to all. And that because we feel that this coaching process, this so-called creative and thought-provoking process that we all engage in when we get into a coaching process, it just makes us more aware and more accountable to who we are and what we can do, right? So we want coaching to be there in everyone's life. Like you said, you're talking to your 5-year-old with coaching mindset. And it's so beautiful to see her answering those questions. And there's an innocence in that child's mind already that she knows, an easy answer. But we as human beings, as adults, we complicate stuff with protocol, with this, that, and the other. And we just make it easy.
That's true.
Yeah. So it is that. It's basically, it's the sense, the theme of the conclave this year is it's time to rise. And the sense of the mission statement.
I have seen the lineup. It's amazing. Let me just compliment you on that as well. It's a beautiful lineup. The who's who in coaching, let me just say that. And the famous people, the people who have gained so much experience and bring so much gravitas to the chapter in India. It's just amazing. Sorry, I cut you because I just want to bring that, the lineup that you have this year is really nice.
Yeah, we have like 85 plus speakers. We have another 12 facilitators who are trying to do some stuff. We have so many different hosts, coaches who are going to be the hosts of the sessions. There's just so many people coming together when so much energy is towards that one single focus of it's time to rise. Look at the impact it's going to have. I mean, I cannot wait for the 24th of August to happen, because that's when we open the inaugural ceremony of the event. And that's when we start out this whole thing of, just coming together of everybody and making this actually come and take shape is just such a joyous feeling. I mean, we are so excited about this. And we have speakers from business, academia, coaching, public administration, spirituality, social, and sustainability. I mean, like all kinds of minds. Another really interesting beauty about this conclave is that more than 80% of our speakers are Indians. And this is an India conclave. And we're so proud of the Indian minds and the kind of, the growth mindset, the beauty with which people are even naming their companies, and the ethos with which they're running their practices or the things that they're doing to make impact. We're trying to get so many amazing people, who've not only experienced coaching, but doing things in a totally new and a different way. In fact, one of our speakers, for example, is this gentleman called Dr. Mukund Rajan, who's literally synonymous with sustainability. There's another gentleman who runs something called as Soil out of Delhi, and he's Anil Sachdev. I mean, he's trying to nurture education in a manner like never before. So it's Anil Sachdev. He's the founder and chairman of School of Inspired Leadership. Now, this is the kind of difference we're talking about, the kind of awareness that, we can make the change of how we approach education, also how we approach our planet. In fact, our culminating event for the conclave is that it's our last event for the conclave before we have the awards. Yeah. So we're ending it on that note that, it begins with education, what we teach our kids, and how do we treat our planet. It's really the bigger picture and the actual total picture. And
let's to put things in perspective. Anybody can be a coach. If he thinks that he cannot be a coach, start being a coachee. So it is for everyone. This event, how does one get to this event?
So there's a website which we've created, which is called icfindiacoachingconclave.org. This website, all the information related with the agenda, the speakers, the kind of people who can benefit from attending, literally everyone, parents, academicians, young adults, students, corporate executives, leaders, business owners, solopreneurs, professionals like chartered accountants, CAs, lawyers, doctors, all these kind of people as well, artists, performers, actors, dancers, anyone who's a human being, who's somebody who wants to make a change in their life should come to this conclave. That's the invitation. Beautiful. Come one, come all.
Beautiful. And thank you for that. And I will ensure that, all the descriptions, rather, whenever we post this out, the descriptions and the links will be always mentioned. All right. So thank you for doing this. Now we get to the segment where people get to know you. By the way, people have got to know you, and little bit that I know you. You're speaking from heart, and it's very, very powerful. And definitely, it's time to rise. These are simple questions. No pressure there. And these are just simple questions on about you, so things about you. So very simple. It's something like, what is your favorite aspect of coaching?
I think there are several, but the most favorite thing is just being able to meet the person. So I'm a connections coach, and I love just meeting a variety of people. So I think just meeting people, connecting with them, and meeting them where they are at. It's difficult to do, right? So you're not above them; they're not above you. I could be coaching a youngster who's a teenager or a young adult, and I could be coaching a senior citizen or the MD of a company, but I'm meeting them where they're at. And that's what I love about coaching. It helps me meet people at where they're at.
What could be the least in that case? What is that aspect of coaching that I don't like it as much? Anything?
I think the only thing that sort of makes me a little bit odd about is the administrative processes.
There you go.
That going and pitching, negotiating, all of that. So there are processes. As coaches, we try to, we are the heartful souls. We're trying to make impact, trying to help people move forward, transition, and all of that. And all of this is very transactional. So that aspect of it is sort of a little bit, but then there are ways we figured it out, and there are ways to do this.
This comes from a place of pain, because this you said immediately, and favorite thing you took a little while. So I noticed that. So there you go. If not coaching, if not coaching, what would you be doing? I know there are many answers in your head.
So if I was not coaching, I would be writing full time.
Oh,
Yeah. I'm a writer. I love writing and I love creative thinking. So either creative stories or fiction or non-fiction, something. I would be writing something for sure. Yeah.
nothing to do with the 60s music and the Beatles.
Oh, that I continue to do. हमारे मियाँ के साथ हमारी हर सुबह की और शाम की
Oh,
चाय
wow.
गानों के साथ ही होती है.
Wow,
And
wow, wow.
we
Lucky.
love singing, and that's the one common thing we have. And we indulge in that as often as we can. In fact, when we miss having tea with each other, then, the day seems sort of incomplete. So I love singing.
Nice.
But I don't see myself going the singing route. I don't see myself at Central Park. That's a tall dream that I could have maybe done. But I don't want to chase that dream. It's not a dream for me anymore. I love that. Beatles did it. I feel proud and happy for them. There's so many others who've done some great things, not only them, but in our own
Yeah, of
country,
course.
such great singers. Yeah. So I love listening to the music. I love singing along, and हम अपनी अंताक्षरी करते रहते हैं, which is awesome. Yeah.
What are some movies, series, or a podcast that you would recommend to listeners?
So I really love that film called Dead Poets Society. I don't know whether you all have seen it, but I would highly recommend that you do see it. There is a lot of podcasts available online. There's so many people who are doing so much. They're filled with YouTube channel, and all the podcast channels are filled with stuff. I will be happy to give you some links that you can paste in the description box. Maybe it's not coming to me instantly like this.
There is
But
one podcast you can definitely mention, though.
Which one?
The Relearning Podcast. Have you heard about that?
Yes, the Relearning Podcast.
There you go.
Prashant Uttekar, you must tune in.
All right.
Yeah.
No, that's
Yeah.
good. You're fantastic.
No.
And I have one observation that you speak from your heart. And I think the energy that everybody's given to this conclave, people are going to. I was just talking to someone about this, right? So everyone's into 2021, everyone spoke about revenge travel. And
Yeah.
organizations did open and COVID again hit. I think there's going to be a revenge enablement, revenge coaching that's going to happen after this conclave. So a lot of energy to you, to the ICF India, to your entire team to make this as a success. Last parting words to everyone who's listening and watching this.
To everyone who's listening, I just want to say this, that this conclave has been curated by coaches across India, volunteer coaches who are really putting heart and soul into bringing coaching into your life. Seriously, shut down everything else, take 3 days out of your life out and focus on this, because this is going to be like stepping stone for a new emergent future for each of us. So let's claim that time for ourselves. Let's invest that time in us, because the coaches who've been working for this, my God, I doff my hat off to them. The passion, the love, the tireless number of hours they've been putting aside for this is really commendable from every chapter of ICF in India. And of course, the global team's been helping us too. I also want to add here that this is the first year that we are having the ICF India Coaching Awards also along with the content. And the Coaching Awards is going to not only recognize coaches, but celebrate them. So not only the individual coaches, but organizations as well. So it's fascinating. Wow. It's going to be a great event. And we really, really want that everyone comes, soaks in the wisdom, the experiences, the experiential pods that we've created, the free one-on-one coaching sessions that you could avail of. We're also coming up with an interesting package that if you're an attendee, you can avail of some extra coaching sessions that are really special, conclave fee. And I mean, it's not to be missed. Aa jao, sab log, register today.
There you go. I don't think there could be a powerful message than this. We'll play this in loop. So there you go. Thank you so much. Thanks, Priya. You're wonderful and your energy is just vivacious. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Prashant, for doing this. And thank you for being a believer and a champion of coaching. And 100%. Thank you for being there for us here today. And we're so happy. And I want to thank the entire team from all the 6 chapters. All of them know who they are. And I don't want to take some names and then not take the others. because I'm old and I'm not very well, so I might forget. So I'm just like, thank you all of you for all that you've done to bring this conclave to life.
Perfect.
And we can't wait for it to open on the 24th of August at 6 p.m. Tune in, guys. Register today.
There you go. Thank you.